This is the story of the curse of the ex-wife. This is the story about how I sold a house for $625,000 and only made $1,200. In real estate, you always budget to make money, but sometimes things go horribly, horribly wrong. And this was one of those cases. Thank God I came out on top with $1,200. Now, a lot of people have an ex-husband or an ex-wife, and they somehow come back even though they're not around to torture you. And this was my case. First it was emotionally, and now this was financially. But all things considered, I got off easy. What had essentially happened was, I found a deal for this amazing house in Gilgo. It was insane. Ocean views, it had panoramic views of the water from every single part of the house. It was 4 stories, 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. It was the coolest place ever. Now, those of you who know Gilgo is a pristine, beautiful beach on Long Island, and it's only about 10 or 15 minutes from Merrick Road. So you're like in this little oasis, but at the same time, you're only 10 or 15 minutes away from civilization. So I'm an avid surfer. I love being by the beach. This was perfect. Her and I were together. We were getting married. We were blissful. It couldn't have been any better. We were gonna have half Puerto Rican, half Italian, Polish, Jewish children. Life was good. We had this deal. We were about to get an unbelievable deal on it, and the deal fell apart. And not that long after that, I don't really think it's because of the house, but not that long after that, we got married, and by that we had a very expensive party in New York City, and we went on our honeymoon, and a week later we came back and she said, I don't really think we should be married, and I think we should break up. And to make a long story short, that was the end of that. We were never actually married. She was gone. I didn't have the house. Fast forward 6 months, 9 months, something to that effect, all of a sudden the deal comes back. Now I'm so excited because I'm like, this is it. This is the house that we were supposed to live in together, but I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna renovate it, it's gonna be amazing, I'm gonna sell it, I got a great deal on it, I'm gonna make crazy money. This thing was gonna sell for $625,000, which it did, and that's gonna make me in some way, shape, or form, hopefully, even though not, feel better. So we bought this house and we started working on it, and wouldn't you know, literally everything that can and will go wrong with a house, and even some of the weirdest stuff that you have never dealt with in your entire life, went wrong on this house. From issues with lumber pricing, to the town stopping us and giving us a stop work order, to the architect stealing my money and then disappearing for 9 months, which actually led to opening up Captain Permit. That was literally the architectural straw that broke the camel's back. You know, labor issues, it took forever to do this house. It cost an absolute fortune. And then at the end, just when things couldn't get any worse, this particular house didn't have water. It didn't have like domestic water where it's hooked up to the city. It had a like a pump system. So it literally had groundwater, and it's hooked to different houses. So there's only supposed to be 3 houses that share. For some odd reason, there was 4 houses that share. And since this one had been vacant for so long, they had actually went out there and cut the line. So the line to connect was below sea level. So you had to wait for the tide to be low. Then you had to stick a pump in the ground and be pumping this thing at 1,000,000 miles an hour just to get the water out, just so you could try to like connect this rusted mess of a hose back together. Once we did that, we realized that there's 4 houses on it and there's not enough water pressure. So somebody did something to try and figure out how to increase the water pressure. On top of that, the water comes out orange because there's no filtration. So then you have to go out and go buy like a $15,000 water filtration system just to filter the water through. To make a long story short, after being dragged through the mud for probably a year and a half, we did sell the house. It sold for $625,000. I was tormented every step of the way, and I made $1,200, which all things considered, after dealing with all that, I felt was a win. So that's the story of the house that sold for $625,000 that I made $1,200 on, but more importantly, it's the curse of the ex-wife.